Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world today. My name is Paul Webb. I'm the founder of B2B Energy, and I'm also your host of Energy Speaks Back. We'd like to thank our sponsors today, B2B Energy and the Clean Energy Revolution. And if you want to know more about Clean Energy Revolution, go onto LinkedIn and type hashtag Clean Energy Revolution. Energy Speaks Back interviews energy experts from around the world. Welcome to our summer series and episode 37 of Energy Speaks Back. Weekly, I present to you experts from around the world, and today we are back in India. Our purpose, as always, is to provide a good understanding of energy management knowledge from around the world, which is available today for us to deliver savings that impact on our planet. My guest today started out as a mechanical engineer and is now working in a prestigious organisation. He loves to share knowledge and has trained more than 7,000 architects and engineers about energy conservation and the building codes. So without any further ado, I give you Ashu Gupta. Good afternoon, Ashu, and how are you today?
I'm pretty well. Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you for asking. We are all well here. Thank you.
Good. And I am saying good afternoon, but are we nearer the evening for you now?
True. It is 6 p.m. right now in India.
Right. Okay. And I always ask this question. What's the temperature in India at the moment? Nice and warm?
It depends upon the city to city, because where I live, because India is a big country, we have 5 different climatic zones as comparative as we talked about. And but today we are facing some cyclone in the western part of India. So that is the reason we are raining right now. And the temperature is around 27, 28 degrees centigrade.
Okay. And is today's conditions normal for today? Or is it...
Where I belong is a state called Rajasthan. The state is normal, but the western part, like state in Maharashtra and Gujarat, they are affected with this cyclone. A lot of trees get harmed, they are damaged. So absolutely, this cyclone has given a lot of damage in the last 2 days.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry to hear that. And obviously your country's going through some challenging times currently as well. So on behalf of our listeners today, our prayers go with you and your family. So Ashu, it's really great to see you today. And we've known each again, you're one of the first people that reached out to me last year. I was shocked when someone from India contacted me, and I've actually done some, we've been guest speakers on some presentations. So I've learned a lot about yourself over the last 12 months. But for the benefit of our listeners today, can you give us some background to you yourself regarding the industry?
Absolutely, Paul. Thank you so much for this question. I want to give my background. I'm by academic qualification, I am a mechanical engineer. I passed out way back 12 years back in 2008. And when I graduated, that was a recession time in India. Every world is facing a recession, and I me too as well. But when I doing the mechanical engineering, I was not aware that energy efficiency will be my way forward to go in that. I will make my career in that. But fortunately, one of my close cousin was working in energy efficiency era, and he was telling me always that this is a good field. Please look at that. So when I came out from college, I didn't have a job for initial 3 months. I was searching for the job, but fortunately, I got a job somewhere, and that field was very emerging, because in India, everyone is talking about energy generation. Either we talked about coal, either we talked about renewable. Very few were talking about the conservation, so or the efficiency point of view. So I entered this industry. Then, of course, in the start, it was a struggle time. We have to train people that what actually the energy efficiency is 13 years back. But then slowly, I did some credentials as the energy conservation master trainer. I was doing a lot of training for government of India in different cities on energy conservation. And in 2013, I started my own company. I started my startup called Design to Occupancy. And right now, in the last 8 years, this team, the small startup, which started from garage, They have more than 100 engineers and the architects are working. And we are working around the globe in energy conservation and energy efficiency field. So that is something I entered in this area, and of course, very I would say emerging this, because this 10 years I would say the climate change, and because of this climate change, the first focus is energy conservation. So my journey started from nascent, but in the last 13 years, I am an entrepreneur and handling the team of 100 people right.
You know, something I've noticed over the last 12 months, India as a country has really embraced the studying behind renewables and energy management and conservation. And it's amazing the amount of students and graduates that I'm approached with on a regular basis, and the hunger for that knowledge and the passion for it. It's something I'm not seeing across the world, only from India. It's very admirable for your country point of view.
True. So in country point of view, I want to highlight, of course, Indians has taught during the colleges, during the schools also, they need to be conserve the natural resources. Right now, India has the lowest energy capita. When we talk about per capita, it is always the lowest one as compared to the other countries. So we understand the values, because earlier, 20, 30 years back, we didn't have the access for regular energy or electricity. But now we understand the value. So this is something a lot of people, young generation especially, they are taking their postgraduate or the master courses in this era in energy efficiency or sustainability is become a need of an hour, and people understand, because we are a big country. We have around 1.35 billion people, and everyone needs energy. Everyone needs resources. So we will face this problem. And of course, our country is mostly dependent on coal power plant, which impact the carbon emissions a lot. And we need to reduce that. And that is the reason people are focusing towards the clean energy or the energy efficiency in our country.
Does your country stand alone regarding its energy resources? Do you have interconnectors from other countries, or are you totally self?
Unfortunate part, we have facing the energy security issues, because we are dependent on the when we talk about either the coal or the gases. So we are dependent on some countries like US or in Saudi Arabia, where we need some resources to convert that petroleum products to make some kind of energy.
Got you. And what is your percentage of renewables currently in the country?
So the best part, India is a country who has started the International Solar Alliance, ISA, and they are bringing up all the countries together to make an international solar alliance, and very actively the government is working right now. If I talked about the percentage wise, we are not that much, if I would say the 20 or 30% right now, but the future by 2030, our Prime Minister has taken a goal that by 2030, India should have over 50 gigawatt installation in the renewable energy. Right now, the total, when we talk about the total India requirement is 380 gigawatt right now. And the target by renewable only the 450 gigawatt by 2030. So that is something India is targeting.
Right. And have they got any net zero targets of where they want to be?
So that is debate is going on. Last month, a lot of international delegation came to India to go towards the carbon neutral or the net zero by 2050. But India has not taken any commitment in that direction. With the reason behind it, because which I feel the target should be in that way, it should be achievable. Because India is India is developing, and other countries, of course, has developed one. And we have a lot of population. So we need to understand the carbon, to become a carbon neutral in the mid of the century is not exactly possible, but definitely we have some commitment. As an Indian government has taken INDC, the National Determination for the Climate Change Conference, and by 2030 we need to reduce 30% carbon emission, and which we are targeting. Definitely we will, and we are at this moment. India is meeting those criteria as year to year.
Yeah, and I think once all your students become graduates and they become working in the industry, I can see some great acceleration regarding that process as well. Ashu, what type of, you talked about your energy management processes that you work with organizations. What type of organizations do you deliver energy management with?
All right. So earlier, of course, in way back in 12, 13 years, only the big players or the big MNC companies were coming forward that they want to the energy efficiency because they want to show to the world that they are investing in energy efficiency or investing in new clean energy. But I have seen during the pandemic also, the people are understanding that climate change can be a more bigger threat than the COVID-19. And now the MSMEs, like who are the middle scale industries or the building sector, they are coming forward because energy efficiency is an investment. It's not an expenditure. A lot of people think energy efficiency, my project cost will increase, but actually it is an investment. If you do, then it will be by 2 years or 3 years, you will get the payback. So it is an income you will start. So now the people are getting understandable. And I have seen the trend has been changed in the last 2 years. People are coming forward to make their carbon neutral kind of building, or they want an energy efficient building for the industries in that.
And is that mainly large organizations have identified the spend to save?
Right. So large organizations already, because in India, several MNCs are working. There are several US companies or UK companies who are working in India. And Indian companies also, they are setting a benchmark that whatever they are doing, they've taken a target, internal target. By 2040, someone wants to carbon neutral. By 2030, someone wants to go carbon neutral. So these companies are making a benchmark for their own buildings or industries, and which is happening right now in India.
Yeah. And what sort of project work are you looking at to do for these organizations?
So generally, we have the clients which we are making their buildings or the new project or the existing projects are want to become energy efficient as compared to the benchmark of the government. Because like in India, we have a Bureau of Energy Efficiency, which is the part of Ministry of Power. They have a benchmarking for the existing building, that this building is a 5-star or 3-star. So most of the corporates, companies, they want their buildings should be most efficient. So we are supporting them to how can they do that, and how can we do the energy audits in those building and industries. And so these kind of work we are doing. And some of the buildings definitely we are supporting to do the compliances in the green building, because the green building movement is started in India is 21 years back in 2001 when we talk about. So now that time always the people think that green means the green paint or the landscaping is green, but now they understand green means the save the natural resources. When you construct, when you operate any building or industry, we need to save our natural resources. That is something is green building. So people are now understanding that.
And do you focus on the building and you focus on the people when you look at these projects?
Very good question, Paul. I think I want to highlight this. Why these buildings matters? Because building we create for humans, for people. Because building we do not create for the furniture or the air conditioning. We prepare for the human, and human impacts a lot. And I always say in my sessions that if the people productivity get, because 98% of the expenses any company is spent on humans, and the 2% on the utilities when we talk about. So we should focus to the how can we increase the productivity of the employees. And India, because we are facing the biggest issue or challenge of the indoor air quality. Or the air quality is very, very bad in India when we compare with any other country. And but 90% of the people spend their time indoors, not outdoors. We do all the indoor activity. How can we improve our indoor air quality so the person should be more proactive? Person should be more productive in that way. So this is something now the companies in India, they are focusing. They do the regular indoor air quality audits, and they understand how my system, my building will be air quality improvement and as well as the energy efficient.
I'm going to break this down into two parts, this question. So when you're looking at people, what are your challenges regarding the people side of the energy management? What are your challenges you're looking at?
First challenge, of course, comes up in India is the investment which will be required for energy efficiency. So the first challenge always the people face this, and this is something because right now what we are facing, we don't have any kind of incentive policies that if you do the energy management in your industry or in your building, you will get some benefit from the government. No, there is nothing.
Yeah.
And this is something that, of course, I always, because I would say energy efficiency is already an incentive. We don't need to incentivize that. But to change the human behavior, which I always feel like the human behavior is same that they don't want to change in the new technology. We were using the same software 10 years back, we want to use the same thing. So this is something, if the government push in some incentive form, they will change. Otherwise, it takes a time. Like in the renewable energy, I want to focus. 10 years, 15 years back, the renewable energy cost was very high in India, and everyone was not willing to go with that because it was a new technology. No one was believing on that. But now it become a very good investment because the government is giving us so much incentives. Government is giving a tax rebate in some way. Government is giving the initial some margin, some less cost in the electricity. So that is something now the people has changed their behavior and they are opting that. Similarly, energy efficiency is something the government should more promotion on the incentive lines.
Right. And then, so my second part of that question is, so there's the challenges about the people and the behavior, which we're seeing that. It's quite refreshing to hear that you've got the same problems I have in the UK. But then what's your challenges regarding technology maybe? Do you have challenges there?
We are facing the technology challenge because I have seen in the last 12 years, LED, like when I graduated from the college, LED came in the market. It was so expensive and the people were not willing to take it. But now these days, every building has LED. So technology always takes a time in India. The players are very less and we have to depend on some few companies. And we need to increase more and more companies in that way. So challenges, the first challenges, we don't have any database in India which companies are making energy efficient products, which are the energy efficient directories. So this is something is not available. And if that something, of course, we need to come up, that will be the great help for the people to understand where they can buy the energy efficient products. So technology challenges are there.
And that's something I'm working on is the technology directories globally. Because I think you're right. That's very important because not only, there's, I call it technology or I call it widgets. There's thousands and thousands of widgets on the marketplace that can help us save energy. But can it? Where technologies that have got proven background, they've got case studies, they come from organizations that have been established for many years. I call them technologies. I don't call them widgets. So, if we do the due diligence, and that's what I'm planning to deliver across the world is with not widgets, but technologies that have good due diligence been carried out on them and sit them on platforms. And I only want people to sit on that platform where they can provide that technology globally as well. I think that's important. And not only they can provide technology globally, but they can provide the support for that technology globally as well. Because again, there's no point having. So, for instance,
Paul, I request you please work on India as well for this directory. This is something actually
we can work on together. I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Because I'm going to go back in time a little bit. Around about 2006, where we started seeing LEDs come into the UK from China and India. Great products. They looked really good, but they didn't have the quality. And it's like all technologies. Quality is very low, but the cost is very high. But over the periods of time, like now, every house has got an LED. I think I've got an LED in every single room in my property now. But take us back to 2005, 2006, we didn't,
Absolutely.
So the technologies grow and we need to be making them technologies grow faster, bringing the quality up very quickly and bringing that cost down, so people can afford it regarding the return on investment. So do you be interested to know what indication the organizations are looking at their appetite for return on investment? So within the UK, I would say between 1 year and 2 years are good indications for returns on investment. We start going past the 2 years, they start losing their appetite for that because of the returning on the money they're putting into it. do you have any indication regarding what they're doing in India regarding that?
So in India, the people accept any energy conservation measure if they have a less than 3 years payback. So if anything, any technology, if they have a 3 years payback, the people accept that. So that is something in my profession. I have interacted with several facility managers or the clients. They always say, Ashu, if we have something less than 3 years payback, please implement in the building. So that is something we require.
Yeah. And so what about things like putting renewables on the solar on the roof? Is that something that organizations look at regarding their renewables? They're sort of generating their own resilience?
Absolutely. So there is a two-way. Of course, the one is the on rooftop, because if someone has a rooftop available, so they do in the same. But like in hotels or in some commercial building, they don't have a proper rooftop and they want to become a net zero building, or they want to become a 40%, 50% from the clean energy. They do the offsite investment also. So we are fortunate in India that we have a good solar radiations in most of the part in India. And we have a very good solar radiations. Out of 365, the 300 days, we have the direct sunlight in our surfaces. So the people are putting a lot of plant offsite. So they are putting a windmill also, solar as well. So that is the same two things we are focusing right now. And that they are generating their own power 500 miles away, and they're getting the entire power to their building through the wheeling process or transmission process. So that is something that most of the people are much interested in that.
Yeah. And on that subject, obviously the energy market in India, how many suppliers do you have in India? Is there many?
I think very good question, because this is something no one has counted or no one has made a database. But definitely in my experience, I would say every company earlier, they were not targeting as an energy efficient company. They were targeting as an HVAC company. They're targeting as a LED company. But now the people understand that they need to come up with the energy efficient technology. So I can count those companies also as the energy efficiency business. So, but there is no count in India. We'll say that 1,000, 10,000 or 100,000. That is not true.
Yeah, but what about the energy? What I was referring to there, Ashu, is the energy companies. How many, like in the UK, we have 19 energy companies that supply electricity and gas. How many do you have many companies in India? Is it an open market?
So it is not many companies. Earlier, it was only owned by the government. But now the 10 years, or I think 10 years back, the government, the private players also come in that market. So now the private companies also have the utility companies, but there is no competition in the one city. Like if the one city, they're getting the power from one utility company. There are no two companies giving a power in the same city. So that is something is there. But some major cities like in Mumbai or in Delhi, they are allowing 2-3 companies in one city together. But still, we are very, very less as compared to the market in US, because there was multiple companies. India is also a big country. We should have more and more companies. So the proper pricing of energy should come. Because I would say the prices in India, electricity prices in India and electricity prices in US, both are pretty same. Still, their $1 is 70 rupees in India. So that is something, but the energy prices, we are paying the same thing.
Right. So each region as such, even though they're different energy suppliers, they're pretty much the same price. So that figure's being governed probably by the government somewhere as a benchmark.
Government has a regulatory authority who regulate these prices. So that is the reason this prices come in that way.
Right. And would you like to see them just be competitive and start challenging each other to drive that price down?
So so prices will not go down because of the political also, because a lot of politicians commit their prices that will not increase, because it is every person affects their livelihood. So that is the reason prices are very political way. Utilities are facing a lot of losses, but they cannot increase the prices in some way. But I'm pretty sure in future they have to increase the prices, otherwise they will not able to survive.
Yeah, they won't be able to sustain the cost to generate that energy.
Right.
Yeah. And what about taxes? Are there taxes that have to be paid on that energy use?
So absolutely, the generation prices, if I would say, just a 20 or 30% sometime. But the taxes, if you include the taxes, it become 100%. So I would say the taxes in the wheeling, in transmission, in generation, these are the charges are very heavy, and that depends state to state in India, and actually it defines the pricing of electricity.
Yeah, Ashu, I'd say this. I think I probably say this nearly every day, but I definitely say it once a week. We all speak different languages, but we all speak the same language of reducing kilowatt hours. Now, what we've just been discussing today is exactly the same as the way the UK is working, exactly the same as Europe and in Canada and America. So I'm not, I could probably have answered all these questions today on this interview. So, you know, we all speak these different languages, but we've all got the same challenges. We're all delivering the same types of energy management, which is great. It makes my life easier, really, regarding what I'm trying to promote across the globe as well. I like to, for all my guests, and I'm sure you've listened to some of my podcasts, so you may expecting this to be coming. So, is there anything you can give back to the industry today as a takeaway to all our listeners? Is there something you could provide us with?
Absolutely, Paul. Thank you. First of all, I really thanks that you arranged this podcast, and I want to not only the industry to the young generation also, because a lot of people get confused that how the energy efficiency can change their lives, how the can change the country target. I would say, because I'm not sure how many people have followed or not in the last 2 years. Lot of stimulations, economic packages are coming up, and every government wants to link with the energy efficiency recovery plan. The reason behind it, energy efficiency is the investment. Like if we keep our money in the bank, it will give around 4 to 5% interest rate. If you the same amount you invest in energy efficiency, it will give you the 8 to 10% in the interest. So I would urge to my industry members, please focus on energy efficiency. It is a need of an hour, because if we do not do in this year, you have to do with the hook and crook by the next year, because government is pushing a lot of penalty clauses if you are not doing energy efficiency. And for the young professionals in India, because we have huge young population, we want to highlight this industry needs a lot of engineers. We have very few. I would say only the 1,000 or 2,000 people in India, they cannot cater the entire energy efficiency market. We need more and more young engineers should come forward to understand this field, to understand the new technologies, and please make the energy efficient and sustainable India. That is my takeaway.
Brilliant. I love it. One thing I'd like to say on top of that is that the 10% that you're actually saving, it's recurring. So it's every year you're going to get that saving.
Absolutely.
So by making that energy saving today of 10%, you're going to make a 10% saving. But then you make the same saving if you maintain that the following year and the year after. So that is worth significant amounts of money back in your bank account as a business.
I would say that this is called a compounded interest. In India, we always believe in the compound interest. The interest money is also getting money. So that is something, of course, every year to year, you are making more if you do the good investment, year to year, you will get good returns from it. So that is something. Now, I would say, Paul, I want to highlight this. Of course, 10, 12 years back, people were not aware, but now I can say, because of this pandemic, a lot of virtual sessions happens around the globe. Speakers like you train people in India, so the people understand this, because this has become a need of an hour. And as a company, as a startup company, I'm getting a lot of requests from the industry that we want to make our energy efficient. So movement has been started. It will, of course, take some time, but we will bet definitely India will become an energy efficient India.
Yeah. When I look at the volumes of people from your country, I can see a massive movement. I'm also a member of BNI, and BNI in India was the fastest growing country regarding the BNI community. You guys just get it. You just get all these things that we need to do very, very quickly. And you've just got the volume of people to start running with it. It's amazing. And I'm very proud to be a part of your sort of talks in your country, passion, if that's the right word to use.
Absolutely, Paul. Thank you so much for the nice words about our country, and I'm sure the people are listening that they will energize with that. This is a huge future. They can make a career opportunity in that, and you have motivated. I want to highlight you have motivated several people because I know you're very famous in India. Everyone knows you from your LinkedIn things.
Just for the benefit of the guests or the audience today, I haven't paid Ashu to say that. Thank you, Ashu. I appreciate them words, so thank you very much. And I'm actually currently mentoring some really good students from India as well. So long may it continue, and this process we're going through. I thank you. So Ashu, I'd like to thank you on behalf of my my listeners today for your time to share with us what's happening in your country and what's happening from your business as well. It's great to catch up with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Paul. This is my pleasure to have the session with you, the podcast with you. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
Okay. And Ashu, you and your family, please, you be safe, yeah?
Thank you so much, Paul. And you, please, you too as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for our special guest today. And thank you for our sponsors, B2B Energy, which can be found at b2benergy.co.uk, and Clean Energy Revolution, which can also be found either through various different social media networks. Type in hashtag Clean Energy Revolution. That leaves me with one more thing to say. Be safe.